Chapter 8. How Siegfried fared to his men-at-arms, the Nibelungs. Through the gate Siegfried hied him in the cloak of darkness, down to the sand where he found a skiff. Secretly the son of Sigmund embarked, and drove it quickly hence, as though the wind did blow it on. None saw the steersman, the bark fared fast, impelled by Siegfried's mighty strength. They weened a seldom strong wind did drive it on. Nay, it was rowed by Siegfried, the son of Sigmund, the fair. In the time of day and night, with might and main, he reached a land full 100 rests away or more. The people hight Nibelung, where he owned the mighty hoard. The hero rowed alone to Broad Isle, where the lusty knight now breached the boat and made it fast for swoon. To a hill he hied him, upon which stood a castle, and sought here lodgment, as way-worn travellers do. He came first to gateway, that stood fast locked. In sooth they guard well their honour, as men still do. The stranger now gained knock upon the door, the which was closely guarded. There within he saw a giant standing, who kept the castle, and at whose side lay at all times his arms. He spake, "Who is it who doth knock so rudely on the gate?" Then bold Siegfried changed his voice and spake, "I am a knight. Do up the door, else will I enrage many a one outside today, who would lift your like soft and take his ease." When Siegfried thus spoke, it irked the warder. Meanwhile the giant donned his armour, and placed his helm upon his head. Quickly the mighty man snatched up his shield, and opened wide the gate. How fiercely he ran at Siegfried and asked, how he does wake so many valiant men. Huge blows were dealt out by his hand. Then the lordly stranger gained defend him. But with an iron bar the warder shattered his shield plates. Then was the hero in dire need. Siegfried gain a fear deal his death, when the warder struck such mighty blows, and now his master Siegfried loved him for this cause. They strove so sore that all the castle rang, and the sound was heard in Nibelung's hall. He overcame the warder, and bound him too. The tale was noised abroad in all the Nibelungs' land. Albric the bold, a savage dwarf, heard the fierce struggle. Through the mountain he armed him quick, and ran to where he found the noble stranger, as he bound the mighty giant. Full wroth was Albric, and strong enow. On his body he bare helmet and rings of mail, and in his hand a heavy scourge of gold. Soft and hard he ran to where Siegfried stood. 7 heavy knobs hung down in front, with which he smote so fiercely the shield upon the bold man's arms, that it broke in parts. The stately stranger came in danger of his life, and from his hand he flung the broken shield, and thrust into the sheath a sword, that which was long. He would not strike his servant dead, but showed his courtly breeding as his knightly virtue bade him. He rushed at Albric, and with his powerful hands he seized the grey-haired man by beard. So roughly he pulled his beard that he screamed aloud. The tugging of the youthful knight hurt Albric sore. Loud cried valiant dwarf, "Now spare my life, and might I be the vassal of any save one knight, to whom I swore an oath that I would own him as my lord, I'd serve you till my death." So spake the cunning man. He then bound Albric as he had the giant afore. Full sore the strength of Siegfried hurt him. The dwarf gain asked, "How are ye named?" "My name is Siegfried," he replied. "I deem ye knew me well." "Well is of me these tidings," spoke Albric the dwarf. "Now have I noted well the knightly deeds through which ye be right the sovereign of the land. I'll do what ye build, and ye let me live." Then spake Sir Siegfried, "Go quickly now, and bring me the best knights we have, 1,000 Nibelungs, that they may see me here." Why he wanted this, none heard him say. He loosed the bounds of Albric and the giant. Then ran Albric swift to where he found the knights. In fear he waked the Nibelung man. He spoke, "Up now, ye heroes, we must go to Siegfried." From their beds they sprang, and were ready in a trice. 1,000 doughty knights soon stood well clad. They hied them to where they saw Sir Siegfried stand. Then was done a fair greeting, in part by deeds, Great store of tapers were now lit up. They proffered him mulled wine. He gave them thanks that they were come so soon, and spake, Ye must away with me across the flood. Full ready for this he found the heroes brave and good. Well 30 men were come stoon, from whom he chose 1,000 of the best. Men brought them their helmets and their arms, for he would lead them to Brunhild's land. He spake, Ye good knights, this will I tell you, ye must wear full costly garments there at court, for many lovely dames shall gaze upon us, therefore must ye deck yourselves with goodly weeds. Early on a morn they started on their way, with a speedy journey Siegfried won. They took with them good steeds and lordly harness, and thus they came in knightly wise to Brunhild land. The fair maid stood upon the battlements, then spake the queen, Knoweth any who they be whom I see sailing yonder far out upon the sea? They have rich sails, e'en whiter than the snow. Quoth the king of the Rhineland, They're men of mine, from which I left hard by Huron way. I had them sent for now they be come my lady. All eyes were fixed upon the lordly strangers. Then one spied Siegfried standing at his vessel's prow, in lordly weeds, and many other men. The queen spake, Sir King, pray tell me, shall I receive the strangers, or shall I deny them greetings? He spake, We must go to meet them out before the palace, that they may well perceive how fain we be to see them here. Then the queen did as king advised her. She marked out Siegfried with her greeting from the rest. Men purveyed them lodgings, and took in charge their trappings. So many strangers were now come to land, that everywhere they joystled Brunhild's bands. Now would the valiant men fare home to Burgundy. Then spake the queen, My favour would I bestow on him, who could deal out to king's guests and mine my silver and gold, from which I have such store. To this Dankwart King Grisel's liegeman answered, Most noble queen, spoke the brave knight, let me but wield the keys. I trow to deal it in fitting wise. Whatso of blame I gain, let it be mine alone. That he was bountiful, he made appear full well. When now Sir Hagen's brother took the keys in charge, the hero's hand did proffer many a costly gift. He who carved a mark received such store that all the power might lead a merry life. Full £100 he gave, nor did he stop to count, and now walked before the hall in rich attire, who never had worn afore such a lordly dress. Full sword rued the queen when this she heard. She spake, Sir King, I fain would have your aid, lest your chamberlain have naught of all my store of dress. He squandereth eke my gold. If any would forfend this, I'd be his friend for aye. He giveth such royal gifts that knight must ween, forsooth, that I have sent for death. I would fain use it longer, and from well myself to waste that which my father left me. No queen as yet hath ever had so bounteous a chamberlain. Then spake Haven of Treneg, My lady, be it told ye, the king of the Rhineland hath such great store of gold and robes to give, that he have no need to carry hence aught of Brunhild's weeds. Nay, and ye love me, spoke the queen, let me fill 20 travelling chests with gold, and silk as well, that which my hand shall give, when ye are come cross to Gunther's land. Men filled her chests with precious stones, the while her chamberlain stood by. She would not trust the duty to Gilsler's men. Gunther and Hagen began to laugh thereafter. Then spake the queen, With whom shall I leave my lands? This my hand and yours must first decree. Quoth the noble king, Now bid draw near whom ye deem fit, and we will make him steward. The lady spied near by one of her highest kin. It was her mother's brother. To him the maiden spoke, Now let he commend to your care my castle and my lands, till that King Gunther's hand rule here. Then 200 of her men she chose, who should fare with her hence to Burgundy. Together with these 1,000 warriors from the Nibelungenland, they dressed their journey. One saw them riding forth upon the sand. 86 dames they took along, and thereto 100 maids, their bodies passing fair. No longer now they tarried, for they were fain to get them hence. Oh, what great wail was made by those they left at home! In courtly wise she voided thus her land. She kissed her nearest kinsmen, who were found at court, and after a fair leave-taking, they journeyed to the sea. To her fatherland the lady never more returned. Many kinds of games were seen upon the way, pastimes they had galore. A real sea breeze did help them on their voyage. Thus they fared forth from the land full merry. She would not let her husband court her on the way. This pleasure was deferred until their wedding tide in castle, their home at Worms, to which in good time she would write joyfully with all her knights.